So, what's up, people? Welcome. Another Wednesday. We are here. This is Control Camp. We appreciate you being here. For those who might be your first time joining us, Control Camp, we are a community of independent artists, songwriters, composers, producers, and we're really all kind of gathering under this banner trying to understand the world of sync licensing, which is placing your music within film and television and video games and the like. And so I'm one of your hosts, Eric Campbell, and next to me is super duper Daraj, independent hip hop artist out of Orlando. I'm a songwriter, producer. We are both very experienced in sync licensing. Shout out to Daraj, who just had music this past Sunday in the Super Bowl. I was blowing it up. It was in my stories. It's in a lot of people's stories. We're really proud of the homie. I mean, if you think about the fact, I'm going to talk about you a little bit, Daraj, while you're here. But if you think about it, like, I mean, Daraj has already been doing major stuff, and Derek is going to attest to that as he talks. But he's doing his thing as an independent artist, as a hip hop artist, just blowing it for a minute. But he made this shift. I want to say it's been a year and a half, 2 years. Made the shift to say, you know what, I'm going to go all in on sync, and I'm going to really like study this game. I'm going to understand this. And we both took the same course, just to kind of study and learn, and then just kind of strategize and try to build. But every week, Daraj has been saying, "Oh, I got this was a T-Mobile ad. Oh, I got something coming out on this, and now the Super Bowl. Like it's just proof that we're all together here studying and learning and growing, but we're also applying what we're learning, and what we're doing on these weeks. We're sharing what's been working for us. And this is like, well, I think one of the terms Daraj and Steph came up with this week was that this is like a peer support group. We pull up other experts that you see each week. We have supervisors come every week. We have all the composers who are regular parts of our sync family, all the supervisors who generously come out every week and just hang with us over and over and over, who come here just to share, because we really believe that if we get this knowledge, we can make things happen. So, again, congrats to you, Daraj, for that. It was really huge, and I wanted to take a moment to shine some spotlight on you for that. And yeah, so this is Control Camp. We'll give more information later. Right now we're going to shift. We have a very special guest with us today, Derek Miner. I'm going to let Daraj do the full thing, but Derek checks a lot of boxes, like talented artist, husband, father, indie label owner, songwriter, producer, engineer, like visionary, activist. And so we're going to talk about sync, but we're also going to talk about, because we're all indie artists in different ways, and we all are looking at trying to figure out how to manage our careers and kind of strategize how to go. And sync is kind of the lane that we're all studying. Like, we know there's income here, we know there's opportunities here, there's route to independence here. And so we're going to dig into that with our guests. And we're also just going to even dig bigger than that, because, the bigger strategies and bigger ways of a musician, just to take the time to really study a musician who has also taken on the entrepreneurship banner and done it well. So with that, I'm going to let me let Daraj take over.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, this is really special for me for a lot of reasons. But I've mentioned just numerous times in here that before I made the transition to go fully independent and pursue sync licensing, I was signed to a label, and with us we have the co-owner of that label, Reflection Music Group, Derek Miner, and as Eric mentioned, I mean, Derek is a slew of things. He has like he checks so many boxes. I mean, we talked about it a minute ago, from being co-owner of a label, rapper, songwriter, producer. He probably flies planes too. Like, we just don't even know. Like, he just does so much. But Derek has just been like a huge inspiration, for me in my life, and just honestly, helped me to transition and even create a career in music. So I owe a lot of where I am to Derek and the other half of RMG, which is Doc Watson, who is a additional co-owner with RMG. But without further ado, Derek, man, glad to have you, bro. I got a whole bunch of questions for you, and I'm gonna try to keep it concise because I just feel like it's gonna be a rich conversation, man. Um, just jumping right into it, was owning an independent label kind of always the goal for you when you started this thing?
Um, it's a good question. Um, yes, I think so. I know I wanted to own my masters, and I know I wanted to help people. So I guess, yeah. But I don't think it was that formulated in my mind when I did it. We just kind of fell into. I just kind of fell into it, um, and had to learn and grow how to be a better uh, person. But I always looked up to like the Barry Gordy's, the Master P's, the Puff Daddies. Like those were the people I looked up to more than just the superstars of the label. Like the Birdmans, even though you know, just I like my life, so I'll just be quiet. But yeah,
Right, right. Yeah, you actually kind of segued a little bit to my next question. I was going to see, like, how was it for you, kind of growing up? Like, were there examples or mentors that really inspired, where you are today? Like, kind of paint that picture.
So I didn't really where I'm from. I'm from Pontiac, Michigan. Anybody knows anything about that? It's like very close to Flint. So not really the most enterprising place in Michigan. And then I grew up in Columbia, Tennessee, which was pretty small. So not really, but my grandfather owned a construction company, and I never seen him punch a clock for anybody my whole life. And I'll never forget my I'll never forget. He used to say this, and people gonna be really astonished to hear me say this, but he used to say he pulled me to the side. I was in college, and he was like, "Son, make sure you own your own shit." You know,
Big
that's
fact.
what that's what Granddaddy used to say to me, man, and that kind of stuck with me. And I would always go back to that. And he didn't know nothing about the music industry. My mom worked at a factory, and I used to just go from studio to studio to studio. And one day she got tired of it, not because she got tired of taking me, but she always felt like I think she kind of saw that I was starting to sleep on myself. So she
Mm,
started buying me music equipment so I could stay at home. And she was like, yo, you're going to do this yourself. So I didn't really have an example, but I did have people, my mom and my grandfather, I did have people that kind of were pushing me to be an owner. They didn't know nothing about what I was doing, but they were like, well, at least you're going to own something, though.
right. That's really
Hmm.
powerful because I mean, even for me coming up, like just hearing your story and knowing that and even knowing your background, like that's a big, just how we grow up, what voices we have in our lives really do set the trajectory of, kind of where we can potentially land in our adult lives. Because I didn't necessarily always have, an entrepreneurial voice or model around me, coming up. But and then actually, kind of even being around RMG, like even when when I signed with the label, I wasn't, initially looking to be signed with the label, but being with RMG helped me to become more entrepreneur, and seeing how you and Doc move helped me to become more entrepreneurial. So it doesn't surprise me though that, in your early stages that there was that type of voice around you and example around you, because I just know how driven you are, and how many aspects of, the music business that you guys have your hands in, which we can dig into a little bit later. Um, but I was going to say too, like, where do you feel like the things really started picking up for you as an artist, like in your journey? Kind of give us the shorthand of, like, when you felt like, all right, this is things are picking up, help me understand that a little bit more. Like, give me that rundown.
Yeah, it was really it was honestly there was I mean, I don't know how many people know anything about the movement I was a part of, but I was part of this movement called the 116 Click, and it was Unashamed Tour, I think 2010, and I wasn't signed to the label, but I was the label was called Reach Records. I wasn't signed to Reach Records, but they asked me to come out and open for them. I think that was Lecrae courting me to see what kind of artist I was gonna be.
Right.
But yeah, so I remember just doing we were probably doing like 1,500 people a night, 1,500 to 2,000 people a night. And I think it was that moment that I was like, oh, I could legitimately do something. Like my merch was flying off the shelf because I was like the new guy.
Right.
So like, I was making like, something like 900 a night for an artist that didn't have any real resume. That was amazing. Like people
Right.
were
Right.
like,
Right.
"Oh,
Right. Right.
$900 a night, yes."
Facts, bro.
Like, yo, I can do all right. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was the first. That tour was kind of what set it off for me. That's what made me say I could do it. And shout out to Lecrae for giving me my first shot. Everybody needs some help. And he really helped me out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm gonna cut into was RMG pre Reach Records 116, or was that post? Like, did it develop while you were kind of with the camp, or you always kind of had RMG in the back burner? Like, what was that for you?
So always, me and Doc started. So my partner Doc Watson, that's who I started the label with. So the way I got on the tour was me and him recorded an album, and it went number 3 on the iTunes Christian chart, and everybody was shocked. And it was the album I recorded in my closet. And after that, that's what kind of started everything for me. So the signing with Reach was always temporary. It was always
Mm,
temporary. It was never I'm gonna retire here, and that it was always temporary. And Reach knew that going into it. Yeah, they always knew
right.
that going into it.
Right. 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 Right.
So yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And so it give us and paint us a picture too, because I know um I know being with, at the time you were an independent artist, with RMG budding, growing, developing. Now you're underneath Reach Records, the biggest, Christian label at the time and still even to date. You're kind of almost getting like firsthand experience of how, labels are structured, how the business, is handled. How has that affected, and it's kind of a two-part question. How has that affected, how you all do business now, but also what does the label structure look like as an independent label owner? It's kind of two-part, but answer that, as best you can.
Yeah, so Reach was structured more like a traditional label. Um, it's structured where contracts were very like traditional contracts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Understandable, right? And when I first started, we kind of mimicked everything that they did. Just like when you're an artist, like you find your favorite artist and then you kind of mimic what they do until you kind of fall into your own sound. And that's kind of how we did it. So we tried to do everything that they did, but for some reason it just didn't work. And now how that's influenced is we have fallen into our own our own space. Like right now we distribute tons of artists. We have different artists and different types of deals. And it's because I don't believe we live in a one size fits all world. And I'm also an independent label. So there's certain things like I can't push a button and put you on every radio station in the world. We don't have the budget to do that. And there's certain things that's attractive about us, right? And there's certain things that are not. And I think what happened is we became more self-aware, right?
Mm,
And actually not like actually, I was gonna say this when Eric was talking, like one of the saddest days for us was when you decided to go full in the sync. But I also
mm,
got it though. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
thing where I was like, it's like, dang, I hate it. But then at the same time, I get it because yeah, as an artist, like commercial artists don't make a lot of money. That's just the truth of the matter. And some of you sing artists are probably like, dang man, if I was only signed. Listen, commercial artists don't make as much as you think. By the time you got 15 different people with 5 and 10, 20%, by the time that gets busted down to you, that's a
Right.
T-Mobile sync, right? So you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Real
So
talk. We
you know
need
what I
to.
mean?
That's
So
gonna be. We're gonna use that quote. Like that. We're gonna
Right.
use that over and over in a
yeah,
lot of places.
it's the truth. So I got it. Um, and that kind of actually made me think like, yo, we have to make our situation just more realistic and more self-aware, right? So now we're more of a label services situation. Um, if you were like, yo, I got marketing down pat, I don't need any marketing dollars. I just need, someone to help me with Spotify or whatever. Cool. If you're like, man, I got all this together, I just need help with booking. Cool. Like
Right.
whatever the thing is very it's an a la carte situation, and we structure the deals to make sense in that way. So
Yeah.
that I think that was the
Which
pivot
is
for us.
RMG Amplify, because RMG is the flagship label. Underneath it, we have this wing called RMG Amplify, is what you're talking about, right?
Absolutely, yeah. There's the RMG Amplify, and then there's the label. So it's like if it's an artist that I feel that I'm able to say, okay, and then also, some artists I'm not necessarily I like their music, but maybe I'm like I don't have enough to really give you the money for your career. We already got other stuff, so that also allowed me to work with different artists in different capacities, right? So there's certain artists I'm like, okay, yeah, like Byron Jawan, he signed to the label. We pay for everything. It's a very very intensive traditional situation. But then we have an artist named we got tons of artists, but take V Rose for an example. V Rose has been doing music for a long time. She's an amazing pop artist. She doesn't need a lot. And then also a lot of these artists are like, yo, Derek, we love that you're independent and you're a label owner. Teach me, help me learn how to be a label owner. So rather than me look at someone and say, okay, this is a competitor, let me try to stop them from making money. I'm like, let's make money together. We have a label services situation. You need label services. Instead of me trying to be the guy that has all these platinum selling artists, like what if I just partner with people that want to build labels and we just help everyone and make money for helping people? Like
See,
I think that
I
that's the
gotta
strategy.
I gotta cut in real quick because this is one of the things that always attracted me about you and Doc and RMG just as a whole. Like the culture that you all cultivate at RMG always been very, very artist friendly. It's always been a place of, how can we help? How can we build, up people? Like, how can we all eat? You know what I mean? Like, that's always been the mantra. And I don't think I know it's translated to even some of the values we bring to Control Camp and even some things we've seen, within the sync side of the industry, because, we've heard, on the more, mainstream, a traditional artist track, it can be a lot more competitive. But, when it comes to this side of the industry, we just heard a lot of stories, just how it seems a lot more inclusive, a lot more, how can we all, kind of rise together? And that's been, I think, the mantra and the banner that you've all have flown just in every situation. I think that's probably a resounding thing if you were to ever ask somebody about RMG, what is it about them that makes them unique, that makes them stand out? It's like you guys just aren't stingy, you know what I mean? Like you are beyond generous with supporting and building up, the community so that we can all grow. And especially too being in the unique place that we were as far as being a subset of hip hop and then a subset of gospel, in this Christian hip hop space is already like a niche within a niche. And so it's just like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how can we, like it doesn't serve us to, compete at that level anyway. So how can we all level up?
I wonder,
S-
is that partly due, Derek? Is that partly due to the fact that you're an artist yourself? Like, are you creating the company that you always wish you could be signed to, or is that motivation there? Because to be very artist centric, you have to be able to empathize with artists. So is that what helps?
Yes, I think that helps. Is you know, I know what it's like to be on the road and performing in front of a lot of people and only making $900 in merch a night, right? So, like, I never wanted to create a label that I wouldn't want to be signed to. And it's like I used to tell the artists, like, yo, the same label services that I get from the label, you get it. So the team, like, I didn't have like my team wasn't different from Darage's. It was all the same team. So it just makes more sense to make everything user friendly. But I think the main reason why a lot of commercial artists is really competitive is because they're broke. That's
yeah.
just the truth. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these guys are broke. They get a $10,000 advance and they get to say that they're signed to such and such label. And then after they, buy the new Dodge Charger, put 10,000 down on it, it's like, okay, now what? And these guys are broke. They're a lot of guys are broke, and it's really like hitting the lottery if you make it. And I mean, think about it. Like, think about just how many artists have been signed to certain record labels, and then think about how many have actually made it. Like
Yeah.
that's really sobering when you think about it, right? And for those artists, a lot of those artists, their producers making more money than them, the writers making more money than them. You know, a lot of people are making more money than them, so it's really competitive
Yeah.
because people are broke. So that's the conundrum. The label has to figure out how to keep the artist from being broke. So that was kind of a thing. I was like, yo, we there has to be a better way than
Yeah.
just me just draining every ounce of creativity out of the artist, and then they walk away and all they have to show for it is just memories.
Real talk.
I love you, bro. That's real.
Daraj,
I'm gonna
can
do
can I can I jump in with one more quick question before we do the reset?
yeah,
Um,
I'll do the reset. Go ahead, Eric.
so because you just touched on something, Derek, and I want to ask, as a label owner now who's been in this for a minute, and you as someone who sees both sides, the artist side and the business side, and so while you're able to look at the majors, but you're also able to look at the majors through the eyes of somebody who runs an indie label. So
Mhm.
why, from your perspective, it's your opinion, what's preventing the labels from paying the artist more? Is the business margins just that low? Is it just that hard? Or what most people think is that they're just greedy? You know,
Nah. Uh-uh. No, I wouldn't say it's greed. Some says some greed, right? There is a little greed, but again, now let's take that example. We said the artists are broke. Think about if you're, I don't know, I would love to do the numbers on, like, man, how many artists did Atlantic sign last year? And then I would like to think about, okay, you're giving all these advances out, but there's only one of them that's going to be 21 Savage. That's the issue. You know what I mean? Is that you're constantly signing all these. When I sign someone, I have zero. I don't know what the public is going to do. Henceforth, independent artists. That's why labels don't sign you unless you have momentum, because that's the only fighting chance that my dollar may come back. Talent's not going to get you signed, especially now. It's not going to get you signed because you're an investment. So, like, if I'm just out here just giving 10 grand, 20, 30 grand away to all these different people, like, I got to get that back some way, shape, form, or fashion. So, like, now let's bust that down into Spotify, Apple, all these different numbers. Like, You got to be able to do some streaming numbers. And I mean, we're making, a penny per play. Then Apple's taking 30% of that. So we're making zero point 0.7, the label, and then all of us have to break that down. Like it's not as much money as people think, but when it finally hits, it's amazing, right? So that's kind of the conundrum is you're an investment, it's a business. A lot of times creatives, we don't really see how much of a business this is, and we don't take in
Yeah,
consideration what's going on.
I really
like
appreciate
that.
that answer. That was,
Yeah, it was
you
a
know,
rich response, and I think that's probably one of the things too that really helped. Like you guys empowered me to help see that more clearly, as far as like the dynamic of artist to label, the mutual value that's there, me being able to partner, like because I, as myself as an independent artist, am a business entity partnering with another business entity, which is the label, and how to then, how can we both mutually, benefit from off of this arrangement, and so that's what it, kind of boils down to, and it's even more so, in this day and age where um, music doesn't profit in the same way it did, as years prior, before streaming was as big a thing it is now. But this topic actually leads us, I think, into the next conversation, which I want to tap into how sync kind of plays a part in the label strategy. Before that, I'm gonna do a quick room reset. So just for everyone joining us, welcome. This is Control Camp. We are Control Camp, a community built for independent artists who are wanting to get their music into TV and film. That includes commercials, games, ads, trailers, you name it, from major brands like ABC, Netflix, Hulu, and all of the above. So I'm one of your hosts, Daraj. I'm an indie hip hop artist based out of Orlando, Florida. And joining me is my co-host, Eric Campbell, singer, songwriter, and composer. We have numerous placements from our catalog and our music that has been used in TV and film. And we wanted to create this space for other independent artists who are looking to break into that side of the industry. We have resources that we provide online at our website, controlcamp.com. If you go to our Sync 101 page, we have PDF downloads. Also, if you're just joining us and you missed the first, part of this discussion, don't worry. We record all of our rooms and we make them available on our Patreon. So if you swing over there, you'll get this room and all of our past rooms as well available to you. And we drop just a lot of information about what it takes to succeed on this side of the industry, that being sync licensing. In this particular room, we hold every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we bring in just different gatekeepers and, industry professionals, music supervisors, licensing agents, publishers, all just giving the inside scoop of how to approach that side of the industry, these gatekeepers, in the right way to really break and create a successful career. So joining us today, we have Derek Miner, who is the co-owner of Reflection Music Group. And he's a producer, songwriter, entrepreneur, influencer, activist, husband, father, low key, just everything, and probably more that I don't even I don't even have on my list. But he was also so I've mentioned before that I've been signed to a label, and Reflection Music Group was that label. So Derek has been just very influential in my career as an independent artist. And so I owe a lot to where I am, to his guidance, mentorship, and what the label has done for me in my career. So without further ado, I just kind of want to get into the next portion of the discussion, because I like where we were going. Derek, I mean, you just mentioning how the dynamic of artist to label, what the investment kind of points look like, how to really keep feeding that ecosystem in today's music scape. And so just tapping back into RMG and you being an independent label owner, how has sync licensing played a part in your business strategy? Because we talked about just how the numbers just look different nowadays. It's just a fact. You know what I mean? Like there's more that the artist has to do to kind of gain the attention of an audience and even to monetize what they're doing. And sync licensing provides an interesting opportunity, I believe, for independent artists. And so for the independent label, how has sync played a role in what you all do?
Yeah, so personally, we try not to have a release without a sync partner. Um, so because radio has never really been a thing for us. We never really have had big radio records. I've had a few. I like one number one on like a CHR or something, but nothing that would be life changing. But I've been eating off a sync on particular songs for the past 5, 6 years. Matter of fact, I just got a sync on a 6-year-old song literally this week. With I don't know who it was with. It's somebody, I don't know what else. So, but yeah, it was like 6 years old, but it works. And so I try not to release anything unless we have a with a sync partner. But then also knowing that everything doesn't fit in the sync world as well, right? So you just kind of got to know what's what. But to me, sync changed my life.
Yeah.
It gave me a whole different perspective on music, and it opened a lot of doors for me. So I try to do as much as I can.
Yeah. So, and that's interesting. When you said about 5 to 6 years ago is when sync kind of became an integration into the label's, workflow and process.
Well, no,
A-
it didn't become an integration until about 2 years ago. But
okay.
but we so like about 5 or 6 years ago, I got a sync. I didn't know, I didn't know what it was. Like, all right,
Right.
what? Someone wants to use my stuff on a commercial? How much are you paying? All right, cool. But I was so focused on being a good commercial artist that nothing in me said, "Oh, you should do this more." Right? I just kind of
Mm,
like, all right, well, hopefully it comes. I had a very like nonchalant approach to it. And it wasn't until I did a record with actually no, I got an American Ninja Warrior, and that was the biggest sync I had got up until that point. And then I started getting some sports stuff, but it would come little by little. And then I did a project with UMPG, uh, Universal Production Music, and that really made me say, "Oh, this is the power of sync."
right.
Because
Right.
I did the
And
project, and the next day it was like 20 sports teams was using it, and I was like, "Oh, okay,
and
all
that was
right."
like I think I remember briefly you all mentioning that partnership. I think they were like Killer Tracks at the time, and they
Yeah.
transitioned to UNPG. And so,
Uh-huh.
what do those partnerships look like? Because I know, um, well, I'll let you answer the question, but is it direct relationships that you all have with supervisors? Is it an agent representation? Is it publishing? Like what does that look like for you all as far as pitching your catalog? How is that facilitated?
Nah, it very much feels like a label to a degree. I have an A&R over there, and they tell me what they want, like what field they're going for. So this is what we're going for, and then I craft them records around that field, and then they exploit it. So it's very much like more like it's a catalog. So obviously, you got to fill the catalog up, but it's more that way
Okay.
than getting direct with the supervisors. Now I have met supervisors through UMPG because we go to parties and they're like, oh, meet this guy. This is the NFL guy, and meet this guy, ESPN. So it's been
Right.
cool to meet supervisors through them, but they don't necessarily say, all right, we're gonna connect you with this music supervisor and let that person tell you exactly what they want. So
Right. So if I'm understanding, it's not necessarily the direct relationship. You all work with kind of a middleman to help curate and pitch, the music that you're creating. And I'd imagine that's pretty helpful for you all because at the end of the day, you all are a label. There's a lot of moving parts. So having that extra arm, I could see it as a benefit. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's a catalog. It's a catalog. So, my job is to do what they want, to deliver them the best product that I can, regarding their needs. So, my partner Alex Hitches and Luke Sprite, it changed my life. Like, like no
Yeah.
lie, the cats changed my life, man. Because I didn't I used to watch my boy Alex get sinks. I was like, yo, this dude, I feel like this dude is getting something every week. And I started doing it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is that. It really changed a lot for me. So,
I
I think
think
Luke's in
he's
the
in the
room right
room.
now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
like
just we just got a
I
text from
I don't
Koichi.
know
He
if
told
I
us,
don't know if I needed to blow his spot up like that, but yeah, that guy is he's a the thing I love about UNPG is that value they really value me over there and value what I bring to the table. I really value them. They really,
let
changed the
me
game for
bring,
me.
if Luke is cool, I'm gonna bring him up. This is on the fly. We usually kind of leave it to special guest interview, but since this is a unique space, I'm gonna see if Luke can come up. What's up, Luke?
What's good? What's good, guys?
How are you, man?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Excellent, man. I mean, obviously, your ears were buzzing. You were in the room. we got we got Derek.
I
Yeah, man. We got
always got
Derek
to tune
Martin
in if
here.
Derek's speaking, man.
Yeah, he's the GOAT, man. We love
Go.
him. So how has that transition been, when you all were, starting that relationship
Yeah,
with RMG, now, getting that brand to kind of curate catalog for you all. Like explain how that relationship happened and how it looks in practice.
sure. Um, Through my boy Alex Hitchens, who I've worked with, brought into Universal, and got him, going with Sync, which was a really great fit for him. I'm always asking him who he likes, who he's, interested in working with or collabing with, and making that happen, or he's making that happen for me. And Derek was, top of his list. So meeting Derek and just, well, like meet what Derek is like organically, like he's just a good dude.
Right.
And, you know, I'm more of that kind of person. Like I'll vibe with you and, you can be talented, but if you're not a good person, man, like I can't vibe like that. So Derek, and then I met Doc and I met the whole team. And, he says it was life changing for him, but for me, it was life changing because their approach, as a label and Derek being an artist and us kind of combining those two worlds together with Sync, and even for a catalog, like I didn't even think Derek would want to even work with us, but the way that they were able to push it and kind of make it cool, and supervisors and network heads and sports teams, people began to reach out and they're like, oh, this is dope, we want more of this, or we need to do this and this next. So
Yeah,
I'm listening to them.
Derek
And
is clutch if you need an anthem. My bad. I didn't mean to cut in, but he got
no,
the
no worries.
anthems on a lot.
Yeah, I mean that was sort of how it started. Just like, hey, this is a dope guy. He has dope music, and it's something we could use for sure. But you know, I'm working for many different clients and different needs. So if he can fill that, let's go. And
you know,
yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut in, Luke, man.
no
You all
worries. I'm
are
talking too much. It's cool.
no, no, not at all. Like you're hitting on a lot of stuff is just like making me really excited because a lot of the things that you and Derek have like touched on are the things that we reiterate like room after room about how to approach the type of person that you need to be, the type of music that we need to create, the type of empathy that you need to have. What I mean, and the fact too that now you're creating music. It's different from just when you have your own kind of personal brand and audience that loves the type of music that you make. Like the shift that happens as a writer, specifically for sync licensing purposes is like now the brands become your audience, your fan, your customers, and so you're curating catalog for that particular audience. And I wanted to ask you, Derek, as a producer, how that workflow might have changed. Was it an easy transition for you to kind of shift from being in this Christian hip hop space and, just being being able to express all of you, on a record to now, crafting a sound that's, a little bit more catered to brands. Like, how was that shift for you, or was it a shift at all? You still there, Derek? You're on mute if you're talking.
Sorry about that. It wasn't a shift really at all. Um, I'm a very technical person. So, I'm just gonna give y'all the sauce. Like when Luke sent me records, I just analyzed them. I literally sat there, looked at them, and just analyzed those things to the T. And once I found a common thread behind those records, that's when I started saying, all right, let's go. I'm going to do, these are the kind of records I'm going to make. So it wasn't really a shift. And then as far as writing anthems, like I have a very, like, a lot of people don't know this, but I don't write a lot of my lyrics or a lot of my hooks because I feel like if I have to write them, they're not good enough. Like the point of a
Mm,
hook is that it has to get caught. People have to catch it. So like most of my hooks, I don't write them. I just go in and freestyle them. And if it's good enough to memorize, then that's that. Then I have to. That's why I hate transcribing my lyrics. But anyway, that's a side note. But you know, so that's kind of the thing I did. I kept it simple, and I studied what they asked for, and I delivered what they asked. And I think that's the problem with creatives. Sometimes creatives, we want to just, yeah, I know they want this, but man, this is my thing. Like I'm gonna do this. It's like, well, you just
preach.
missed the opportunity. Man, do the job. If they ask you for anthems, give them anthems. Don't give ballads. Like,
Right.
Oh my God.
it's
We could do a
Facts.
whole separate room just on that topic. Like that is so
yeah.
powerful.
So for sure.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. Yeah, man. I just
Can I
don't.
jump in with a question, if you don't
Go
mind,
ahead,
Derek?
Eric. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so Derek, with you and Luke, especially with you, Derek, doing so many things, it seems like this partnership was really beneficial because one of the things we talk about in this room is just the different ways to get into sync. So there's, doing your own grind, building your own relationships with supervisors, getting out there and knocking on doors, and there's working with an agency or a library or working directly with some of the big houses. But this partnership that between you and Universal is like, it seems like it's perfect because it really frees you up. You're already doing so many things, but it allows you to really stay in the creator space as well as the label management space. You're already kind of juggling those two things. So is that part of what makes it so attractive for you?
Um, nah,
Or
sorta.
or as
I
opposed to
guess
you going out
to
and
a
saying, okay, I
degree.
want to be in sync. Let me go out here and find, supervisors. Let me go out and knock down these doors and let me figure, all this out. Um,
I I kind of do both because at the end of the day, man, like be it this is the thing. If I have a critique to creatives and artists, is because I guess I'm not a pure creative. I'm kind of like both, like a hybrid, like in a sense. And most creatives are lazy in the sense that they like to sit in the studio, make songs every day, and then just want those songs to just walk off their hard drive to a Grammy. And for me, I'm like, that's not how this works. It doesn't work that way. So like when I met Luke, I met Luke because I was in LA working on something else. I think I was at the Grammys, like networking for the Grammys. So like the idea of me going and networking and finding people to do that, that's not a burden because I understand that I'm not wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? Like I get burdened by stuff I'm wasting my time for. But if me finding 5, 6 more people that can help put 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand in my pocket, that's just the job.
Right,
Like, you know what I mean?
right.
Like that's just what you have to do. You know what I mean? So for me, I don't have an issue with getting up and doing that. I used to, but when you're independent, I mean, there's no cavalry coming. You are the cavalry.
Man, yeah, bro, like it's so funny, like hearing you talk, I feel like I've kind of by osmosis have like adopted a lot of those values and a lot of that hustle. Because I remember even when, I was still with the label, I remember you telling me, or I don't even know if you told me directly or Byron, somebody told me it was like, man, Derek got like 5 EP sitting, you know what I mean? Like he ain't even do nothing with it yet. You know what I mean? It's just like, and to me, that was just like foreign. I'm like, what in the world? Like, how does this guy's output is crazy. But now like being fully independent and being underneath the label so much, like I'm at that place where it's like now I'm sitting on music that I've I've made, and like that like the mindset set shifted, and I just kind of tapped into I am the start and finish of this thing. So I have to go knock down these doors. I have to go create the opportunities. I have to go build the partnerships, and not just expect it to happen, out of thin air. But man, I don't like we could go on and on this topic, but I'm gonna shift gears even though I don't want to. But I want to talk about, and also Luke, man, I appreciate you coming up. You don't have any obligation to stay up here, man. We appreciate you. We're gonna go to an audience Q&A a little later, so if you want, you're more than welcome to stay here for that. But no pressure at all, man. We're just thankful that you came up to speak, bro.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Really dope.
Absolutely. I wanted to shift gears, Derek, because this being, Black History Month, like you being, such an advocate for entrepreneurship, Black culture, empowering, Black creators, specifically, I'm gonna target that because I know you empower all across the board, but I want to talk about We Own Now. Can you
Yeah,
give us a little bit of perspective of what that is, how it came about? Tell us about it.
yeah. So that's thank you for asking that. Um, how it was birthed, I had a family member staying with me, and they were down on their luck. And for a lot of people, I don't even like to say this, but like my house, most people, I've never lived a year in the home that I have. I have a really nice home, but I've never lived a year without someone. This is my first year living, and someone wasn't living with me. That's always been a
Right.
thing. Like me kind of helping people, hey, you could come here, stay here rent free. We'll have a plan. When you leave, take that money, go put a down payment on a crib. Take that money, go do whatever, go get a job, et cetera, et cetera. So I had a family member stand with me, and I just realized that he had no clue about how life worked. He didn't know who
Mm,
he was as far as history. He didn't know how finances work, how anything worked. And I started seeing this common thread, especially within the Black community. Like, okay, yeah, we're fighting systemic justice for systemic injustice, and that's a real thing. But when say the fight is over with and we get everything that we want, there's people that's still gonna not know how this works and not gonna be able to function in a society where like it's like okay, say that every bank gives you access to a loan, and we're making sure that if you qualify you can get a loan. Well, if you don't know how to do a business plan, right, then you're in trouble. So I started realizing that, and from there I was like, man, I started diving into Black history. I started realizing that, and this is not an exaggeration, Black people literally built this country.
right.
Like, there's not a creation that is in this country that has not had the influence of Black people. And a lot of patents to this day are patents that were slave masters. Black people were slaves, so slave masters will be like, yo, if you create something, that means I created it because you're my product, right?
Right.
So there's patents today that are filed by slave masters that were actually the creation of slaves. So I say all this to say that fast forward, after the Civil War, Black people only owned half of 1% of the wealth in this country. Being a population of 13% and being a population of people that built this country, we only own half of 1% of the wealth. Well, you fast forward today, Black people only own 1.5% of the wealth in this country. But when you look at if Black people had a GDP, African Americans, we would have a top 20 GDP. We'd be on the same course with a lot of, I mean, second world countries as far as our amount of money that is circulated from us, but it's not circulated in within the community. So I just wanted to really kind of empower people with the knowledge to understand that, listen, don't sell your ownership. There's a lot of people who have, and this is not just a black thing. This is for white, Hispanic, Asian, whoever you are. Like, value your product, right? And if you do sell it, at least get something for it and not just a one-time deal. Like, get some kind
Right.
of recurring residual, because it's not always that you can own your masters. I don't own every master to every song that I've ever done, but in every song I'm participating in that income moving forward. And that is
Right.
what we own now is about. It's about helping people to see the value of ownership. Yeah.
And help also me understand, is it, and that was beautiful, by the way. I had people texting me like, yo, he's talking that talk right now. So you can't see it, but I'm getting messages as you're talking, bro. People are really
Respect.
resonating with. Yeah. So does we own now, does that in practice look like talks, podcast products, partnerships? Like how does it, flesh itself out? And yeah, tell us the entry points.
So right now, I'm partnering with someone to help build a e-learning curriculum. And it's going to be unlike any curriculum in this space. One, because it's going to be targeted to Black people, by Black people, and at the same time, there's some other bells and whistles I can't really reveal. I wish I could, but it's in so early a development
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
can't really talk much about it. But it's going to be an educational piece, but really it's a lifestyle movement, if anything, more than a curriculum. The tangible is, curriculum and speaking and all those things. But the intangible is, it's a movement. I want people to see the ownership as the new Black shirts, and I want people to ponder on what that means and put that into their lifestyle. That's because that's, for me, that's what it is. When I sit down with somebody, I'm not sitting down with somebody like, ooh, I hope I get a check. Like, I'm sitting down and say, let's partner. I want a check, and I want multiple checks. And I'm do that because I created it. And if someone doesn't see the value in that, then we just move on to the next person until they find it. And some of that is
yeah,
also knowing your worth. Since I've done what I've done, I can kind of throw my weight around a little bit. But like I said, I don't own every master. When I first got in the game, I had to give some up to get some back. That's just business.
right,
But
right,
that's a temporary thing.
right, right.
It's a
Yeah, yeah.
temporary thing.
Bro, I'm so like proud and like honored to know you. Like I'm just excited listening to you like talk about, and I've always heard this, you know what I mean, like the sentiments and heart that you share for this topic in particular, but like hearing you, speak about it again, and it's really refreshing, it's really revitalizing. Like I just love and support kind of what it is that you're doing. And I wrote a question down too that I feel like you would be the perfect person to ask, because we're going to shortly shift over to the audience Q&A, but I wanted to get this question in. What do you feel like is the role of music and activism in this particular season? Like, what is the artist's responsibility, you feel like?
To be honest, like, this is not the time to shrink back. This is the time to ramp it up and to be more honest, because honesty is how we move forward. We don't move forward by pretending nothing is there. We don't move forward by, like, people always hit me with the let's unify, let's unify. I'm not unifying with somebody that's trying to step on my neck. Like, I don't want to unify
Mm,
with you in that way. Like, no. Like, if our unity means you get to continue stepping on my neck, then keep that. Like, for me, I'm like, yo, let's be honest. Now, if you want to be real and honest, let's build equity together. Cool. That's the point. But I think that that's the thing. And, like, when you look at the records that matter the most, To Pimp a Butterfly matters because Kendrick was honest.
mm,
What's going on matters because Marvin Gaye was honest. You see what I'm saying? He was
Yeah.
honest. And I think that's like that is what
What's
allows you to be. That's what makes you iconic as an artist. The level of honest, Janis Joplin, like honest. Bob Dylan, honest. Like they're honest. Bruce Springsteen, honest.
what
I
was
could
the
go
Sam
on
Cooke
and on.
record? The I just watched the One Night in Miami.
Sam Cooke.
Ah,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Brain
that
froze.
one.
Change gonna come. Change gonna
That change
come.
gonna come.
Honest.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that
Honest.
you equating. It's. I've never like every. You said so many. We always talk about dropping gems, but you said much, so many powerful things just in the last so many minutes. And but this whole thing of equating when someone asks you about activism, and so many people would take that to talk about responsibility or upliftment or positivity or what have you, and you went right to honesty. I think is just the most, for me, that's the most powerful gem of the night, because
Mm.
honesty doesn't have, it's not even, there's not even a morality behind honesty is just honesty. But if more artists are being honest, they're going to speak about the truth of their situation and the truth of what they're feeling and their vulnerabilities, and that will provoke the change, as opposed to the intentionality of I'm going to say something that's going to be change instigating. So I'm really taken in by what you just said. With that, was thinking that way.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you've been in a relationship, right, where a person, um, you just like, yo, what's wrong? Is it, are you okay? And they say, what do we do? I'm straight. Yeah, I'm good. But you're not good.
right.
Like, like tell the truth. Like, even if it hurts, like tell the truth, even if it hurts. And then here's the thing. Now, when I tell the truth, now it's not on me anymore. It's on you to decide what you're gonna do with the truth. So if I tell you, hey, this is wrong, this hurts me, this is painful. Well, if you continue doing it, then I know where you stand.
Right,
If
right,
if if you don't continue doing it, then I know where you stand. And now we at least know where each other stand.
man. Mic drop. On man, Derek, bro, you already know the love I got for you, man, but I just can't express it enough, like how much of a privilege it is to have you here. I mean, you have such like a beautiful mind and just like your heart for people, your heart for change, your heart for music, your heart for lifting up and empowering creatives is admirable and next to none in my view, man. And so we really just as my man Psychosis always says, man, just giving you your flowers now, bro. Like, we just
Mm.
thank you, what I mean, for being you and for creating the spaces that you're trying to create. And this conversation may continue, even further into the Q&A we got going on, but I want to try to get some people on stage. We open up the hand raising for everybody. So if you have a question in light of uh, sync licensing, as a composer, producer, as an indie label, if you just want to tap back into the conversation we're having as well, about how music is used towards the current state of the culture, and just continue to expound on that conversation. We're here for it. Go ahead and throw your hand up. We're going to do a quick room reset. Eric, did you want to do a room reset? I did it last time.
Yep, I got you.
All right.
So this has been we've been just having a great discussion. If you're just stepping in, this is Control Camp. Welcome to Control Camp. And we are a community of independent artists who are working on getting our music and learning about getting our music into television, into film, into video games, advertisements, the whole realm of sync licensing. I'm one of your hosts, Eric Campbell. I'm a songwriter, producer with years of experience in sync, with numerous placements on various TV shows, both through libraries with supervisors, through agencies, working on TV shows. My co-host, Daraj, is an amazing artist from Orlando, Florida, hip hop artist, and with amazing credits. And I'm pausing because I want to really just highlight that you heard him this Sunday on the Super Bowl. Had a incredible placement on there that we're really, really proud of. And so we come here every week sharing our experience and also bringing other experts so that as a community, we can learn from each other. We can all kind of come up together. So it doesn't matter whether you are totally new and don't, you're just hearing the word sync for the first time, or if you've got lots and lots of placements. We've been building an awesome community, sharing information, being really open with each other, and just trying to all level up together. So while what we've been doing today, we've been talking to Derek Miner, who's one of the co-owners of Reflection Music Group, and we've been talking just about his process as an owner of a label, the mindset behind being a creator and ownership, being a label owner, but also the importance of sync licensing to a creator who values ownership and control of your career. So, Derek, again, thank you so much for just for being so honest. Use your word. Thank you so much you've been totally open this whole time. You've been very open, vulnerable, honest, and our whole community is benefiting from that. So I thank you. I know Daraj thanks you. Just appreciate you being here. What we're about to do, we're going to shift into our Q&A. We're going to pull some of our other supervisors and other experts up onto the stage. We are doing that, right, Daraj? Or are we not doing that?
Yeah.
All right, so we're pulling some other supervisors and other people onto the stage, so that we take so that we have a variety of questions, people, different perspectives to answer questions from. And we're going to keep moving. So if you've been here before, we try to move through questions very organized. We move through them quickly. We ask that you ask one question. When you ask your question, we're going to put you right back into the audience so that we can kind of move on. You'll be able to hear the response from the audience. So there won't be any need for a follow-up. But so make sure, have your question. We'll put you back. If we do need to pull you back for a question, we'll pull you back up afterwards. And let's jump into questions and move on from there. I'll let you do that, and I'll start pulling people up, Garage.
Okay, awesome. And my bad, Koichi, I accidentally put you back in the audience. I was trying to make you a moderator.
I got
but
it.
yeah, definitely. So my bad, bro. So we're gonna get right into it. We got the homie Johnny Ford. He's a good friend of myself and Derek, man. Johnny, what's up, bro? What's your question?
Yo, so of course I don't have a question for myself, but I just want to say, Derek, I love all your music. No, I'm just playing, but I do.
Shut up.
Nah, but my question is, so I work with a lot of like young college artists, and so you guys have been talking about sync a lot. And I guess my question is like, are there any tools or apps or places that they should be to kind of get into that area for their music, for sync?
I think that's good. I think you need to have a disco for sure. That helps organize everything. That's where everybody's using. Um, I think disco and network is really what it is. I went to a music business. I went to a music business school, and I didn't have to pay all of that money if they would have just said, "Hey, make good music and talk to people that can help promote your music." I could have saved a lot of tuition money because that's where most of everything that's happened for me has happened for me. So yeah, it's messy.
And I would be curious to hear from Luke as well. Would you have anything to add to Johnny's question as far as, indie artists? Should they be looking anywhere in particular to, get their music in the right hands?
I mean, tune into, rooms like this. Of course, study some of the up and coming or people that they look up to. Like certainly like Derek and sort of the channels that his indie label has to offer for indie artists to help. And I think just do research and find out who are the decision makers here and just really learn about what they're doing and then reach out, but make it like a quality reach out, and maybe just talk about their own projects or the projects of, who they want to network with, what they're doing. So I think that helps to get somewhere.
Love it, man. And shameless plug, if you go over to controlcamp.com, we have some resources there that help those who are looking to have one of those quality reach outs that Luke was just mentioning, because that is one of the key components to really pushing the needle for you. And one of the things we should say as well, everybody on stage has just given their time to be up here, and we encourage that you follow them. But be very, very cautious with DMing and reaching out unless it's really the open doors there. We just want to respect that relationship and that dynamic. So follow, but be slow to DM and reach out to people. So let's go to Quinn. What's up, Quinn? How you doing, man? What's your question?
Man, what's happening, man? Hey, no question this week. I just wanted to say congrats to you. I want to give you, Eric, Derek, flowers for this week's episode. Y'all killing it. Every Wednesday I look forward to it, man. And I just have to give y'all's flowers, man. So shout out to y'all, and major congrats again on the Super Bowl ad, man. That's glorious.
Man, thank you, bro. Quinn's a regular here,
Thank
bro.
you,
We
Quinn,
really
man.
appreciate you, Quinn.
Appreciate you for real.
My bad, bro. I didn't mean to shoot you down so quick. Who we got? Mickey, what's going on, bro?
What's up? How y'all doing, man?
Doing good. You got a question for us?
Yeah, real quick one. I just want to say my name is Mickey Young. I'm a soulful hip hop artist, and Derek, the whole point on telling the truth, man, and just the people that you cited, I thought it was funny that you cited Kendrick to Pimp a Butterfly. I've been listening to an analysis of that entire album, and my question has to do kind of with people who want to tell the truth on records. What makes a lot of records so powerful or iconic, I guess, from what I'm seeing, is people telling the truth and telling stories and finding different ways to craft storytelling tools, whether it be analogy or metaphor or whatever. But I'm noticing that in sync, it's not just about telling stories, it's also about servicing and fitting a need and being empathetic. Radical empathy it is something I've been taught. So for anybody in here, my question is, for artists who like to tell stories and kind of like build out album-ish experiences or experiences that take an entire multiple songs to tell that story, how do you go about doing that, or what advice would you have for people who want to do that and compete in the sync sector? Do you have any advice for how we should be approaching writing? Should we write songs separately for sync and then write our album stuff over here, or is there a way where we can kind of bring some synergy and storytelling into what we're doing for sync? That's my question.
It's a really good question.
That's a great question. I'll say this, Mickey. Let me ask you a question.
Oh, my bad. I'll pull them
ever
back.
in your life try to hang a nail with a butter knife? Like, so take a nail, put it on the wall, and hit it with a butter knife. You ever
He's about
tried?
to come back up. Sorry, I pulled him down. He's coming back up. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, okay. Have you ever done that before?
Tried to hang a
nail with a butter knife. Have you ever tried to hang a nail with a butter knife? Like, say you was hanging a picture, pick a butter knife up and hit a nail with it. Have you ever tried to do that?
Nope. That sounds like it'd be a headache.
All right. Why not? Why wouldn't you do that?
It's not the right tool.
It's not the right tool. And I think that would be the answer to the question. You could tell as many stories as you want, but you just have to make sure they fit the need of the situation, right? So just because, like, I love telling stories. You can go through every last album. I tell, like, all my albums that I have, they all have a story weaved inside of them. But if Luke is like, I need anthems, I'm going to give him anthems because he needs anthems. And I'm going to take the money from what I made from Luke and I'm going to put it into my storytelling music. That's one way. Or you never know, depending on how creative you are, you might be able to find a way to weave stories into your anthems. Like I think like that's where the ingenuity comes from is by limiting yourself in a way and saying I got to get the job done and then being creative within the limits. That's where the ingenuity comes from. That's how the cotton gin was made. It's because people was picking cotton. They was gonna have to pick cotton every day. They said, man, you know what? I'm gonna make this cotton gin. They made the cotton gin, and then that's what made it much more of a productive way to produce cotton and also to preserve themselves. So I would say the same thing with singing. Like, man, if you're a storyteller, you're a soulful artist, first, you probably don't need to be submitting for records that need anthems, right? You know, stay in your lane. But then two, like find out how to be if you say, hey, I think I can make anthems, find out how to put that storytelling into the anthems. Even if it's just for yourself, just make sure you hit the marks.
Yeah, I love that response, and I would say too, Mickey, and he's in the audience. Bo Williams, he's a really great example of this because he released a song earlier this year or last year, excuse me, called "History in the Making," and I think is a really great job of marrying kind of storytelling with having a finger on the pulse of what's going on and communicating something really, really passionately that means something for the times that we're in. So I'd encourage you to go check out his track "History in the Making" and all his catalog. But appreciate you, Mickey. We're gonna keep it moving. We have
Quentin.
is it Quentin? Quentin's next.
Yeah.
All right, Quentin, what's going on, man? What's your question for us?
Yeah, appreciate it, Raj. At first, I didn't really have a question. I actually do, but I just wanted to say, first of all, appreciate you and Eric. Like Quinn, I also look forward to this every Wednesday. I was missed it last Wednesday, wasn't able to get in, but the last two conversations, I think the week before you were talking about anxiety and that hit home, and then this week is everything is hitting right on. So appreciate the platform. Congratulations on your Super Bowl spot, Daraj.
Thank
Um,
you, man.
yeah, and also for Derek, I do have a question. Man, I've enjoyed everything you've been talking about, and even beyond the music, I want to know how do I or if anyone in the audience wants to know how can we tap in with you on the We Own Now, or is it something that you're doing right now? Because that's something that speaks near and dear to my heart, and I'm passionate about. Also, just educating people in general, but particularly, our community, because for the very reason of some of the things you spoke about. So I just want to know, is it something we can tap in with you now, or is it something, we just stay connected?
Yeah, definitely. You can go to the website weownnow.com and all of the info's there. Definitely donations are welcome for sure as we try to build out this curriculum. But you can just follow on IG at we.own.now. That's where I spend most of my time. And whatever I'm a fan of many hands make light work. So, whatever you feel like you could contribute to the movement, let's figure out how to do this because it's not a that's the beauty of it. It's not a it's a movement. It's a lifestyle. So, hey, you just as big a part of We Own Now as I am.
Like that. Like that. And I appreciate him for asking that too. I wanted to tap in to see how we could support as well. So I'm glad that came up. Um, awesome. Next up, we have Jay. What's going on, Jay?
Yo, what's going on? Really appreciate the gems and all of the wisdom from all the panelists, especially you, Derek. Been following your music for a long time and a huge fan. But I had a question, and maybe the supervisors on the panel can answer. So I know when terms of like submitting music for sync, I know that samples are a no. A matter of fact, a hell no. So like, but what about in terms of like splice loops and stuff like that? So I know we're now in the realm of like royalty free loops, and I know that the waters can get super muddy. So how does that look like in a sync licensing world?
The problem with those sites is that they don't actually give you the rights that you think they have to be able to pitch it for sync opportunities. So I would say if you're using stuff, that you want to sample, to check like the terms and conditions and like the really nitty gritty stuff that you probably see at the bottom of their website, and read through and see what rights you actually have. So like for me, if I saw that somebody used a sample from Splice, I wouldn't use it. And I do want to point out, it's not that samples are a no-no. It just happens to be creatively a lot of samples that are used are historically harder to clear or really expensive, or their splits aren't worked out for the original song, so it's just not licensable. It's on legal hold, as we say. So they're not necessarily a no-no. That's just the reason behind why we avoid it, because it's just, you know how fast it can happen on the back end. It holds it up, so that it's really about being able to actually clear it and holding up the process and budget. And Splice actually, and the other, I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but any of their like competitors, that's like the behind the scenes issue. So if you want to use it, read through their site and see what actually is approved and what you can do. So that if anyone picks up on that there's a sample, you can go, I know there's a sample, this is where it's from, this is the clearances per their terms and conditions or something like that, and just show like it's legit. You can use it. Don't worry about it, kind of a thing.
If I could just add one thing to that, I did everything Jess said is spot on, and I did some research on behalf of a client and found that Loop Masters, their terms and conditions are pretty straightforward, whereas Splice, it's not as straightforward, and there is some gray area that made me a little nervous. So, but I will say that Loop Masters was very direct and straight up that like you can use this for sync, in perpetuity, blah blah blah. Period. Like there was no sort of additional language that muddled sort of the rights and the terms. Again, you know, don't take my complete advice for it, but check it out and do your own research. But that is what I found. So just a shout out to that.
Love it. Thank you, Mike. Jess, appreciate it. Super, super helpful. I know that comes up a lot, and a lot of producers are curious about that because it seems like a little bit of a gray area nowadays, but that was really helpful. Next up, we have MC Nice. What's going on, bro? What you got
Hey,
for us? What's your question?
what's up, Daraj? And this is from my man Derek. We're gonna jump into the business side of it. So, what's a good deal as far as sync license? So what happens is, you get a for new. I'm talking about for new artists, where they see in the agreement with these third party these aggregators, where the aggregators taking 50% of the publishing. You know what I mean? Should that scare artists off?
It depends on the artist. I'm not a one size fits all person. Like I remember everybody was like 360 deals are awful. And I'm like, yeah, I guess if if you have a team, but if you don't have a team and your label's the team, 360 deal sounds pretty good to me. So I would say the same thing with sync. You have to work with what you're able to provide. So if no one knows you, no one cares about your music, and it's competitive out here, and someone says, hey, I'm gonna give you 50%. Well, I guess 50% of something is better than 0% of nothing. you know but always, as an artist, I think it's important to think progression. So the problem is when you take the bad deal and you sign something that's gonna have you locked into that deal for the rest of your life, that's bad. Or you keep taking the bad deal over and over again because it's convenient. I think it's always good to reassess who you are and where you're at. So, I, that's a tricky one. I think it just depends on the artist and what you can get for your music.
Can I piggyback off of what Derek's saying too? Um,
Absolutely.
and like a good way to know if it's worth the investment of your time is to really ask yourself, depending on their catalog, are you going to be a focus? Like if it's a more independent or a company that actually has these very heavily involved relationships with their artists where you're always going to be priority and top front, they're going to be pushing you and supporting you, or are you just going to fall onto the bookshelf with everyone else they sign? And hopefully, just like Derek's saying, it's not a perpetual deal. You can get out of it at some point. Um, you know, try to figure that out, because if it's a company that can give you the support, you know you're not going to get ignored. That I agree, that could be a really good investment for an artist that doesn't have a team and is trying to do it on their own.
Love it. Love it. That's why I like bringing all these voices in here. I just feel like it just compounds to the advice and the helpfulness of the artist's career. This is really good. Okay, so we have Linda is on deck now. What's going on, Linda? How you doing? You there, Linda? You might be on mute if you're trying to talk.
Check your mute button at the bottom right hand, just to make sure it's not muted, Linda. She might be new to Clubhouse.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll see if we can come back to Linda a little later, and let's see if Mark, you there? Mark, you got a question for us?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the invite, Jessica, who's to the right of me. So thanks for that. Just a quick question and a little introduction. I set up a record label for my son, Jack Sampson, who's a 22-year-old singer-songwriter. He's got a ton of music that he's written, about to release an EP, and got a credit on Universal Music's Now That's What I Call Music, which is pretty cool, since he's, as far as I know, the only unsigned artist to get that feather in his cap. But my question is it better to sign with a sync licensing company and have them pitch his music, or is it better to try to make relationships with music supervisors and go to them directly? Thank you so much.
If you ask me, I'm a fan of doing it all. You know, I have stuff in catalogs. I have relationships with music supervisors, and I also have relationships with sync houses. And a lot of sync companies they are non-exclusive. You know, a lot of people understand the grind, and they're not trying to lock you down. It's not as like commercial music. Commercial music is like, hey, I'm trying to lock you down for the rest of your life and your children as well. Sync, now I haven't really experienced that in sync. A lot of people in sync are just like, hey, we get it. We like the song. Let's make the song work. If you have more songs, let's do it. So I would say, talk to everybody you can.
Could I just chip in? I was invited up on stage. I'm not sure who invited me, but I'm very grateful to be invited. Been really enjoying the conversation. I'm a music supervisor, predominantly of indie films, sort of up to like say $8-10 million, but usually around the sort of $1 to $5 million range. I've been doing it for quite a long time. I think sync companies are really good because the reason why sync companies are really good, I mean, I agree with Derek, what he was saying, but sync companies can be really good because music supervisors get so many emails every day from the major labels, from everybody pitching music to us, that it's very hard for us to listen to a lot of it, even though we'd like to. And I find if you can find a really good sync company that loves the music and the artist, they've got to love it. It's no good just letting them take it on because it's more music in their library. If they're really keen on it, it could be a very good home. And I do find that a lot of sync companies want to be exclusive. And I used to be an artist manager, and I used to fight that like crazy. This was like 15 years ago. And then I realized one day 3 of them got the same sync, and I was looking at paying out 90% of the fee, and I had to explain that to the artists because a lot of these sync companies get the same briefs. So I would say you need to look around, and again, you can go non-exclusive, but don't be totally afraid of it because a lot of the good sync companies are getting the same briefs. So there is some loyalty factor, and I tend to, when I'm looking for music, I go to sync companies and I trust their taste in music, and I always get great music. So the good sync companies won't take music they don't like. So I hope that helps. That's my
Man, that was
view.
great, Andy, and welcome to the
Huge,
camp
huge.
too. Yeah, we appreciate you being here, man. Feel free to stay on stage and offer any additional advice, man. We're a community and we love having multiple voices kind of in on these conversations. So we thank you for being here, Andy.
Well, thank you, and it's a really interesting conversation. I love all the diversity as well. It's really interesting. So thanks.
Cool. We'll do one last chance for Linda. Linda, are you there? Okay.
Going
Well,
one
yeah, 1, 2, 3. All right, let's go on to McKinney.
is the homie. I just had to shout him out real quick. What's up, bro?
What's up, Daraj? Good to hear
I'm
your
good,
voice.
man. What you got a question for us, bro? What's up, man?
Yeah, I got a question. I'm very, very new to the whole sync thing and control camp, and please forgive me if this question is a dumb one. Um, I wrote it down here. Give me 1 second. Okay. So is sync like a curriculum, or is sync like a hub of artists that actually are participating in the licensing on like TVs and ads and commercials and stuff?
Oh,
Because go ahead.
no, not a dumb question at all. But appreciate you asking it, and I'm glad that somebody can have a question, and then some people will feel like, oh, I'll save this. So I appreciate you for coming forward and asking, because you're not the only one in the room who would
And I
have that
appreciate you
question.
for writing it down. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you, Eric, but that was G. Sorry.
Yeah, but sync is short for synchronization, and so it really speaks to just the type of placement. And so sync licensing, synchronization is when you synchronizing the music to film, and so synchronizing the music to the TV screen, to the video game screen. And so when we'll say, okay, I want to get involved with sync licensing, I just want to be in the business of getting my music placed in on television or in a commercial or in some type of, in one of the various mediums. And so we use the term sync, or we use the abbreviation. I just got my music synced. I just got a sync placement. I just got a sync license, or a license to synchronize my music. And so it's a general term that we tend to use. And so Control Camp, we are a community because we're all gathering around sync licensing. But sync licensing just refers to the act of licensing your music to one of those mediums.
And Eric, can I back you up there and just say, for anybody who's new in the room, Eric and Daraj have done an incredible service to us all by creating resources for sync artists, especially those who are just starting. And you can go to controlcamp.com, which is CTRLcamp.com, and find a lot of, stuff that works if you're just starting out, and even some great stuff that if you've been in the game for a while, just some brush up and reminders, and some rooms and other things that are from previous weeks that we've done this. So I highly encourage everybody to check that out.
Thank you, Steph. Divine Idea, got you next.
I'm talking with the mic. Can you hear me pretty good?
Oh, hear you very good.
Okay, great. I thank you guys for letting me come on and ask some questions. I'm just kind of joining in, and I'm involved with an independent recording label or record label that has maybe 2 artists, and just trying to promote that and get that out there. But the question that I had is, someone told me that doing your music using GarageBand and all of the loops that you would use through GarageBand, it doesn't belong to you. Is that true? I know this is a bad question.
Not a bad question.
No,
Not a
not a
bad
bad
question at
question.
all, actually. We've
I
talked
believe
about.
it's.
Go ahead,
I
Mike.
believe it's usable. Yeah, sorry to jump in. I just Rihanna's Umbrella, the beat to that was pulled from GarageBand before it was Logic. So again, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I haven't looked into Apple's sort of terms of service around it, but I'm pretty sure any of those loops on there are free game, but I would double check.
Hey, I just wanted to answer this really quickly and you can throw me right back off stage. But yeah, you can use the loops in GarageBand as a part of a song. The only limitation is you can't like try to sell a pack, like a beat pack or something like that using those loops. I know a lot of people don't read the terms. I used to work for Apple, so I had to. But yeah, you can use them as part of the song. You just can't try to sell them or package them as like you created them as far as like loops or like selling loops.
Dang, Johnny for the win.
Appreciate you, Johnny.
bro.
Thanks for coming up and
Yeah,
saying
no,
that.
that's a great point. And that also goes for loop masters as well, what I was saying before. That's sort of the one caveat. Even though their terms of service are pretty agreeable when it comes to sync. So great point.
Yeah, he called out the Rihanna song. I actually heard a commercial the other day, and it was like a whole, like it wasn't just one loop that somebody like put into another beat. It was like a whole beat from GarageBand that was on the commercial the other day. So I don't know who did that, but that might be tricky. But
I'd be scared of that.
Yeah, that's walking on thin ice for sure.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. We do a quick room reset for any new folk that might be in the room. For anyone just joining us, welcome. We are Control Camp, a community built specifically for independent artists who are looking to get their music in TV and film. I'm one of your hosts, Daraj. I'm an indie hip hop artist based out of Orlando, Florida. And with me is my co-host, Eric Campbell, singer, composer. And we've had our music synced in a lot of different with a lot of different brands and had success on this side of the industry. So we created this space specifically to help bridge that gap for independent artists and getting their music placed in TV and film. Earlier, we had a amazing Q&A with a good brother of mine's, Derek Miner. He is the co-owner of Reflection Music Group and wears a lot of different hats, entrepreneur, activist. He has his own brand that they also started up with, or movement that they started called We Own Now. So definitely tap into him. And if you miss any part of this conversation, we started at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you are just joining us and you missed it, don't worry about it. We record all of these rooms and we make them available on our Patreon. So if you go to controlcamp.com on the Sync 101 page, you'll find a link there to our Patreon where you can get this recording as well as all of our past rooms. And we just drop a lot of information and resources for those who really want to level up in this space. And now we're doing our Q&A portion. We just open it up to the audience to ask any of the wonderful moderators that we have here. We had a full house tonight. Full of music supervisors, agents, composers, you name it, here to answer your questions about what it takes to get your music synced. And with that said, we want to continue with our Q&A, and I believe we have Kristen up next. Kristen, how are you?
Hey guys, thank you so much for taking my question. I just want to thank both you and Eric for having just amazing high-level discussions and wonderful guests every week. Thank you so much for that. Derek, I just wanted to first say I just love this straightforward discussion about making honest, authentic music. People want to hear that kind of music now, and what our social responsibility is. But also, I wanted to ask you a question about, I feel like I need 48 hours in my day, and I'm just starting out full-time working as a songwriter, executive producer in Sync. And I'm just wondering, who would you hire first on your team if you wanted to hire somebody for, there's research, networking, social media, there's writing and production, you've got to practice. So clearly there's so much that you have to do on your own, but I'm finding I just don't have enough time to do everything. Who would you hire on your team first?
It's a great question.
Jeez.
Good luck, bro.
That is an amazing question. What has worked good for me is hiring a person who is passionate about the things I'm not passionate about. So I'm not a paperwork person. I'm not a day-to-day person. I'm a very project-oriented independent person. So I can get a project done, but it has to be on my own time. I'm not a guy that shows up every day and does that. So you gotta hire the people that someone that loves what you hate. And it works. It works really, really good. So yeah.
That was
This
a
is my
fire
favorite.
answer.
Oh, sorry, Daraj. This is my favorite question. I mean, Daraj, Eric, we've talked about this both in this room and offline. You know, I think the answer, Derek just nailed it. Surround yourself with, know what you're good at, and be smart enough to know what you're not good at, and know that that's okay to not be good at everything. And even if you're not good at some things, it doesn't mean you're, any less of a human being. Just, or even if you are good at them and they're not your favorite things to do, like Derek said, find the people who are passionate about those things and then hire them. I always say that I like to surround myself with people who are much smarter than me. So don't be afraid. A lot of people are intimidated by hiring people that are older than them or have more experience than them. I feel like that's the opposite. I love hiring people who are much smarter than me, because high tide lifts.
Yeah, I would second that too, and I feel like Control Camp is a testament to that because as you can see, we have a ton of people on stage, and I feel like all of these people are probably more qualified. It's probably been in sync longer than I have, but I respect each and every one of their opinion and their voices weigh into what we do. So I think those are great answers. Like you nailed it.
Steph, did you
Thanks.
get
If
cut
I can
off
take
or?
10, no, if I can take just 1 second to that, actually, because one of my favorite people who are smarter than me is actually on this stage. And she's very new to Clubhouse, and I just pinged her on here. Her name is Amy Rowland, and she's the VP of Sync and New Business at Sony Music Publishing. And she's an incredible woman, and this is her first Clubhouse. She's in the
Woohoo!
corner there, Nesca Psychosis, named Amy. So give her a follow, show her some love. She's a brilliant woman who I frequently call
Amy,
to solve problems for me.
Welcome to the camp,
welcome,
Amy.
Yeah, I
Amy.
Thank
know
you,
Amy.
Steph.
Welcome.
Hi, and love what you guys are doing here. Look forward to joining in future weeks.
Awesome. We're so glad to have you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So I think we got Brandon up next. What's going on, Brandon?
Hey, what's going on, man? How's everything with you?
Good, man. What's your question? What you got for us?
All right, so I just have a quick question. I've been I'm a singer, musician, producer, songwriter. I've been doing it for a while now. It's been a long road, a lot of roadblocks and setbacks, just different things. But we're still going, still trying to make it happen. So, um, just in when it comes to the sync licenses, like I think another gentleman had spoken in regards to him being very new to this, and I'm in that category. I'm very new to this, but it's something I'm very interested in nonetheless. Uh, I've been burned a few times, like as far as like writing to, for example, like open tracks. I've collaborated with a number of producers, not just in the States, but in other parts of the world, and kind of just seeing the good and bad. Like I said, been burned a few times, and just I've taken a long hiatus from music, but I'm just kind of inching my way back to it. But I want to do everything right, and I don't. I want to try and avert. I mean, some things are unavoidable, but if I can, I want to try and avoid getting burned again. So I'm just trying to. I'm treading very lightly. But when it comes to the sync licenses, one, and I don't want to be too lengthy, but one experience I had was I wrote a song that had been. I wrote like 2-3 years prior to this moment, but I ended up. One of my friends wanted to. Pitch that to one of his artists that he was managing. And so what happened was I sent the song to him, and he, was already written and produced, obviously, but he like recorded his lead vocal on it, sent it back to me. And I guess at the time I hadn't gotten the copyright done yet. So I tried to send it in and get the copyright just to protect myself. And the copyright office contacted me back and said, well, we can't copyright this in your name because there's someone else's name on here. You have to copy. I guess they were trying to say we have to do it under both names or something. So I don't know. It was a mess. I mean, there's many stories I could tell, but the question is, when it comes to sync licenses, let's say I write and produce a song, and I try and shop it to a music supervisor. Is there are there any cases where you have to go back into like your registration, either as far as the copyright and or your registration as far as with the performing rights organization and or Harry Fox, for example? All of it's somewhat new to me aside from BMI, but are there any cases where you have to go in back into either one of those registrations and make changes if and when one of these music supervisors for example, like for a movie or a television show or something, if they say we want your song, so on and so forth, is the expectation to have to go in and like make a bunch of changes to what you've registered, or should you be able to just leave it as is?
The expectation is that that's already done. By the time you get to the music supervisor, I mean, the last thing you want to do is blow up a situation because that paperwork isn't correct. Hopefully, you'll have someone admin all of that stuff, and everybody is already aware of the split, so you make their job easier. I literally, there's a song right now that I cannot use to this day because it's not all of the writers haven't agreed to it. So there's all the writers except for one person hasn't agreed to it, and his money's just sitting in escrow. And it's an amazing song, and it'll never see the light of day because this guy just, I don't know, like and that's why if I was to give any advice to any artist here, be very careful who you go in the studios with. And if you go in the studio with strangers, make sure your split sheets are solid and everybody signed off of it before you leave. Because the worst thing in the world is creating great art and you can't use it. So I definitely would say, man, like I lock in with like 2 or 3 producers and artists. My circle's really small. We all know what we're going in there to do, and we leave with something great. So that's my advice.
Hey, Derek, can you explain to anyone who might not know what a split sheet is and that process a little bit?
Yeah. So a split sheet is literally just us talking about what is everyone gonna get for the song. So there's actually software that there's like a digital split sheet where everyone could say, I could say, okay, say I produced it and say someone else wrote it. We're gonna go 50-50 on that. And we leave the studio and it's all signed off. And then by the time I send it to admin, we make it official via paperwork and everything is good to go. So it's just an agreement between artists about what everyone's going to get for their contribution.
I just want to add for Brandon, without knowing more about your situation, that like Derek said, by the time something gets to a supervisor, all the paperwork and everything should already be taken care of. But if what you were asking about, you said supervisors, but I was wondering if you actually meant maybe like publishing company or a library or somebody else that you were dealing with. And some of those situations, some of those people might want to register the copyright. And if the copyright's already registered, then that might need to be a discussion. So I just want to put that out there to you, depending on who you're dealing with, that could be a question or an issue, depending.
Could I just add something as well? I wasn't sure whether you were stating that you think that if a music supervisor of a film or a TV show would need you to give away some of the rights of your song, because that doesn't happen in film and TV. I mean, it can on a network if it's a theme song, but you'll be told that long before you submit your song, and that'll be for somebody like Warner Brothers, and it'll be well worth doing the deal. But normal film and TV, it's a pure license. They're licensing your song, and you should be very wary of ever giving away any of your rights forever to anybody. It happens sometimes in commercials as well, and there's reasons for that, but your writer's share, you should never give up. Again, sometimes in commercials, it happens, and it's understandable, but in film and TV, you should never be giving those things up. So if that was part of your question, you shouldn't expect, if you're licensing a song into film and TV, to have to change the rights owners at all. And as everybody else has said, you need to have all that information in place beforehand, because if you burn a supervisor, it can cause a lot of trouble, as Amy can explain legally. So we will never return to you.
Absolutely. Great
Before
responses.
let
Oh,
me just jump in and say, we've got five more people on stage. We're going to go through those. We're going to probably wrap up. We normally try to wrap up by 10. Looks like we're going to be able to do that on time. We haven't talked about the after party, but if you're a regular here, you know that we do an after party room. It's for club members only, and it's unlike this room. It's kind of more of our time to do something less moderated. If you want to talk, you just raise your hand. You jump up on stage. We get to know each other as a club. So if you haven't, if you're not part of Control Camp, then click on my profile or Daraj's profile, and it's the first club at the very bottom of our profiles, and just follow us, and then the room will show up in your hallway, and it's really cool. We get to, like, this is our time to kind of just answer questions, but in that room we feel like we've really gotten to become a community because we get to hear your stories. You get to share. You know, the mics aren't moderated as much. It's really casual. So let's get through the questions, and then we're gonna meet over there. We wanted to add something, Daraj, before the next person.
no, we're good. We're good. That was great.
All
All
right,
right. So, okay, go ahead. I'll let you run it.
Joseph, we got you next.
Hey, how you doing, Eric and Daraj? Always a pleasure to be here with Control Camp. My question was to Derek. Derek, how do you find that producer that you click with? Because I'm a singer, songwriter, rapper. I'm I'm dabbling in beat making and producing, but I find myself writing a lot. And my thing is that when I write, I have an idea of what I want the song to sound like. I have the beat, I have the melodies and all of that in my head, and I write kind of to what I'm hearing. And so my thing is, how do you find that producer that you just click with, and you can go into the studio and you just make fire? How do you how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, so I mean, half the time I'm the producer that I click with because I produce.
I was just about to say that. I
Uh,
was like, usually it's Derek producing
Derek, I'm
himself,
about to
but
put that on a T-shirt. I am the producer that I click with.
yeah, so a lot of times you know, I'll do everything myself. But early on, before I was confident in my production, it was networking. It was being in the city and doing records with people that I admired their music and doing a lot of networking. That's where it happens. But I will say this with a caveat. If you are in the studio with somebody that you do not know, please, for God's sake, because I'm 6 years later fighting with a person over 2.5%. So, like, please have your split sheet done before you leave, and make sure, and because it could be little Jimmy in the corner who told you, man, you should put a cowbell in the song. Next thing you know, they see it on a TV show, and then they're like, man, I helped produce and write on that, and it's 6 years later, so it's either blow up the situation or give this person something that they probably don't deserve. So it's best to just get it all done up front while it's fresh on everybody's mind, and that's my advice. But network, network, network.
I would add, Joseph, that just because of something that you said rang out to me. You were talking about, you have a song, you have a very specific vision, you kind of know where you want to take the music. And I just want to point out to you that you should consider whether you're thinking about a collaborator or hiring somebody. Because if your vision is that specific, then you want to hire someone to execute your vision, because once you go into collaboration, then you're opening yourself up to someone else's idea. And so if I'm collaborating with Daraj or Derek or Korichi or Steph or anyone, I respect their gifts. So I'm coming with my ideas, but I'm also open to saying, let me see what they have. So there's an art to collaboration. So just wanted to put out there, thinking differently about collaborating versus hiring.
it's real good. It's real good. Awesome. So we have Henry, what's going on, bro?
What's up? How's it going, Daraj and Eric? Thank you guys so much for having this platform. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Welcome to Clubhouse too, bro.
thanks, thanks a lot. Holy shit, it's been quite a whirlwind couple of days. Just soaking up gems, you know. So anyway, thank you. My question is about positioning. My collaborator and I work on a variety of different genres together. We interface now with several different sync houses, and recently we've been trying to secure placements with, for example, ESPN and the NBA. My question is it better to represent ourselves as being focused on a particular genre and hone in on that, or expose them to the whole range of music we're making?
What do you think the answer is?
That's a really good question. I'm inclined to think it's better for us to really focus in on sort of the area that we're strongest in.
Well, what area do you think you're strongest in?
Pop.
Do you like to make other music?
Yes, and we do.
So then do it. I just feel like make the music you want to make and have a catalog. It's not a big deal. You don't have to cater to sync. If you know how
Okay.
to write to brief,
Let,
that's cool, but it's not a problem.
and let me jump in real quick too. I want to paint some other perspective as well. I think if as an artist who, and I'm speaking for myself, like I play in a lot of different spaces sonically, and that's it's a really, it's a real question, and it's a great question, Henry. And so for me, I find that sometimes I'll partition and create different band aliases for certain styles of music that I have, and so I position a certain sound. Like I have a band called Sunny O, and it's kind of more of like a vintage, pop alternative hip hop ish kind of vibe. But I also have my Daraj brand, which is a lot more of the kind of straight up hip hop cinematic kind of space. It's kind of evolved into the cinematic space since I've done sync licensing. And so I do think it could be a cool opportunity for you. And I'm not sure if you're more like a front end artist, or if you're a producer. I might have missed that in your question, but you know, in any regard, I think you can position yourself if there is a specific lane that you want to be known for. Then you can take that initiative to say, all right, I'm gonna prioritize this. But I may also make whoever it is I'm doing this relationship with, say it's a publisher or a licensing agent, or even a music provider, let them know I also have the capability to do these type of things if you ever have need of it. So I would kind of start with the end in mind. Is there something that you want to be known for? Cool. If it's still kind of up in the air, then it may serve you to kind of play the field a little bit and show your diversity. But for the sake of, hey, I'm a versatile producer, and you might start to see that supervisors or agents or brands are picking up more on a particular sound, and you might want to double down on that. So I would probably say that when it comes to positioning, and I recognize the struggle for those who are like really eclectic and love to kind of try different stuff out. So that's a really great question, Henry. I appreciate that.
Yeah, what Gerard is saying, and I've said this before, is like you can have a few names to yourself if you are working in this world, and it doesn't take anything away from who you are as an artist. Oh my god, something's crazy happening. So yeah, if you wanted to try that out, you could, but also if you wanted to pitch a couple of songs that you felt strong in and they were pop, then give that a go. But if you feel pigeonholed in that way, don't worry about it. You can always pitch other things and try another way. I mean, you're not locked into anything, but I think Daraj has a really good point that you can always try another try another go at it from another angle.
I was
Yeah.
also gonna say I would pick because most people, especially I've noticed this about sync artists, it's always the people that are like really, really good at a lot of stuff. But pick the thing that you're great at and lead with that. And like my advice would be that because I also worry like when I get an artist just as on the commercial side that like okay you give me a pop song then you give me a rap song then you give me this and I start feeling like maybe you're still finding yourself. Not saying you are. You might be perfect at all of those things. But I just say pick the thing that you're great at and lead with that and just overdose on that. And then also sync is just one thing. You could be sync and just be known for pop, and then your commercial stuff could be some Sam Cooke soul music that you love making. You know, that's just my 2 cents.
That's great, Derek.
Yeah, I want to back up what Derek's saying because as somebody who works with a bunch of brands that all sound different, sometimes we're moving so fast on the supervision side that for me to know that you have that one target, like what are you great at? Because that's what's going to help me remember to go out to you for a specific thing. And then when I have a more wider and I can think about it, the fact that you're getting a brief in the first place and I'm thinking of you means you're already open to getting other stuff and not getting siloed because you're already in the radar in the first place. But having that what you're great at, what is that thing that you want to be known for, doesn't necessarily mean you can't do it, but it does help someone like me who's constantly pulling in every kind of direction to navigate, oh, I need to remember to go out to you. I need to go out to Jared for this. Eric has this. Derek has that. So it's a think of it as a marketing tool.
Love it. Cool. All right, so we got our last two audience members with questions. So Mac, I see you here. Welcome to Clubhouse. Welcome to Control Camp, Mac. How are you?
Hello, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
This is this is my first time on the stage and asking a question. So shout out to Koichi for giving me the lowdown earlier today.
Hi, Mac.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
I was wondering, somebody said earlier that a good, sync company is gonna love the music of the artist that they chose. I'm an independent artist. I have a small team, and I've been on a exclusive contract. That was a 2-year deal. I'm coming up probably, I don't I don't know what time is because of the last year, but almost over. And it was not exactly what they had talked it up to be when we had our meet and greet. I know that that's kind of part. You never know what you're going to really get. I just wanted to take a jump and try it. It was new to me, and I am wondering what kind of relationship can I expect from the right sync company, and if there's, I don't know if there's any back and forth that I would get more directly. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's a good question, Mac.
Thank you.
I think it was.
sync agency.
I think it was
Yeah.
me that said
Hold
that
on one
about
second,
this.
Andy. I think
Sorry.
Rashad tried to jump in.
Sorry,
You're
Rashad.
soft, Rashad.
Yeah. Wait, what you say, Eric?
Oh, we can hear you now. You were just low.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say I can give you a little bit of insight into the workflow with the sync agency, such as the one that I run, which is pretty much we work on a basis. We work on a really transparent basis where when we get briefs, we have our artists on our roster and our producers on our roster who, similar to Jess, we almost work as like a music supervisor within a music supervisor. We have our artists that come to mind right away. We have our versatile artists and producers, and we pretty much give you a version of the brief that we're working on or a version of the project that we're working on. And then from there, you pretty much have three options. you can pull from your catalog. That's option number one. And then if it's a fit, we add that to our pitch. Option number two, you can cook up something from scratch, but you gotta just know that disclaimer of you're using time, effort, resources, and it might not land. So that's the gamble that's totally up to you and in your power. And then option number three, you see a brief that's like way out of your wheelhouse that we still send to you anyways, you can just ignore that. And pretty much from there, when we get feedback from the music supervisors, we loop in the artists that we did pitch on that record, and we'll, say, hey, the music supervisor said this, this, and that. Or, which happens in most times, which is realistic, is you hear crickets, you hear nothing at all, in which in that case, we don't send you anything. But whenever we get feedback, you know about that. So that's the insight into working in, I can't say it's most sync agencies, but definitely with us, you know about briefs. Instead of a situation where we're pitching your stuff without you knowing and you just hear it from us when we got you something. Like, we like to keep you in on the process.
And I would say, were you getting, we can't speak to the speaker, but it's very difficult to get a placement. You can never guarantee it. There's loads of songs I find that I think are going to be amazing for end titles or something, and I've had them for years and I've never been able to place them. So it's a very difficult thing to quantify. If you're with a label that has a sync house that has loads of singer-songwriter people, and you're a singer-songwriter, go and find a place where you're special and you stand out. If there's people that do, most sync houses rep all sorts of genres of music, but again, you don't want to be with thousands of other people that are doing similar music, because it's just not going to work. So it's hard to say why you had a hard time, but I can tell you that, as I said before, there's been so many bands that I've thought would be perfect for sync, and I've never been able to place them. It's very difficult. For every for every song I put in a film, I've probably heard 200, 250 songs and been pitched, so that's the difficulty.
Yeah. I see Vo's got his mic on. Vo, did you have something you want to add to it, bro?
Yeah, first off, I just want to say thanks, guys, again for having me here. It's been a pleasure to listen to everybody speak. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here. Just really quickly, I just wanted to kind of add in on this, because I think a lot of what comes with a question like that, and it is a valid question, is, what can I expect? And I think it's important for artists who don't really understand the space to know how to manage their own expectations. And sync labels are incentivized to pitch because they need to make money. So there's not a label that's going to take your music and just sit on it because for no reason. If briefs are coming in, they're going to pitch. Another thing that you got to understand too is the project has to exist. A lot of us think that once we sign to a sync label or we send it to a music supervisor, we're a week or a month away from landing inside something. But if that project doesn't exist yet, then there's no space for your music. So, sometimes it could take a year up to, I have songs in my catalog. I mean, I have over 200 songs, but I have songs in my catalog that are synced the minute that I sent it, that I sent the disco link. And I have songs in my catalog that it took 2 years. And then those songs have made me six figures on one sync. So, you really want to afford yourself some patience. Communicate with your sync agent, because, there's also this idea for commercial artists who are coming into the sync space, who bring the culture of like artist manager, artist label relationships and that etiquette to sync, in that there's this expectation that sync agents are gonna like save your life, or like change your life. You're a small business that's in a joint venture with another small business. Communicate with your partners. If you need more communication, ask for a pitch report. See what you've been pitched for. Ask what they see in terms of briefs that are coming down. What they're noticing as they examine the marketplace, and where you fit in that. And if you want to pivot or Maybe like add something to your catalog that's not really working, or try some new things, add some new products to the marketplace. Then you'll have the data to do that. But you really want to kind of come into the space, afford yourself the patience. Also be ready to work. You want to, you're going to need to motivate yourself to constantly create music, even if nothing is coming in, because it's the song that you make today that's going to earn you 100 grand in 2022. So I just want to throw that out there, and just make sure everybody's managing their expectations, and understanding that, not only do you probably have incredible music, but you want to give yourself some time for the project to actually exist that needs your music.
That is
so well said, Bo.
that,
That is so well said, Bo. And I know a lot of sync agents are probably so stoked that you said that. So well done.
yeah, well, that's just a sneak preview of the wisdom of Bo Williams, because he's going to be part of a very powerful panel next week. So we're going to stop him from giving away any more gems right now. We're going to get them saved for.
And we've
next
used a
week's
couple
panel.
of Bo's songs too, and Derek's too.
That is
That's
awesome.
so awesome. Yeah.
Good to see you, Atik. That is awesome.
Man.
All right. Yeah.
Last question.
We got our last question. Proof or Professor Biz? Is that the right way to say it?
Professor
Proof Biz?
Yeah, Proof Biz. Yeah, it's Professor Biz. What's going on, everybody? Shout out all the mods. Daraj, last time I saw you was up at Join the Verb or A3C, one of them. Shout out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, shout out Derek. Ownership is the new black. I see you. And everybody who pinged me in this room, all my peoples. I am a songwriter, a hip hop artist. So this is my question, and it's kind of a mix of two questions that have already been asked. So number one, I think it was Joseph. He was saying in terms of like he writes to the beat in his head. So I'm starting to get into production, and obviously looking to be as productive as possible. Looking into some loops, and I know loops are kind of the thing nowadays, so it's easy to get into. But just like somebody asked about GarageBand, with those loops that they're able to use, one big thing that's going on nowadays is with Splice. And I was told, or I heard from somebody else, who's familiar with the sync world, that many of the loops in Splice, they say they are royalty free, but are not truly royalty free. So when they can end up being pitched to sync, you can end up having a clashing. And this is something I've also been told is like, don't screw a music supervisor over work, like with bad paperwork. It's gonna put you in a real bad place. And I don't want to go to that real bad place. I want to keep good relations. So my question to you is how to find out what is truly royalty free. Is that something I would have to look in like directly to the license of a specific loop, or is there some way that I know I cannot get got?
We just a couple of things. One, a little earlier, somebody asked that same question, and so a couple of supervisors did share exactly what you said, that certain loops, it seems like someone offered Loop Masters as seeming to have a very straight terms and conditions. Apple Loop seems to have very straight terms and conditions. Splice's terms and conditions appear questionable. But within all those, the artist, you have the ownership of checking out those terms and conditions. For Splices, I believe theirs is on their site, and then you sign up. When you sign up, you get the terms and conditions as well. So yeah, I think that answers that. Okay. Before we sign off, so we've done this a couple times. First of all, I'm gonna do a couple of things. One, if you just came in the room recently, this is Control Camp. We're a community of people working in the sync licensing space, learning about sync licensing, leveling up in sync licensing, and that means we're all focused on getting our music synced, put in with a television advertisement, a video game, a trailer, one of the various spaces of visual mediums. And so I'm Eric, one of your hosts, and my co-host Daraj. The two of us were co-hosts. We are artists, songwriters, producers with significant experience in the sync licensing space. Daraj just had a major placement this past week during the Super Bowl that we are all extremely proud about, and so I've been saying that all night, and we just want to again, kudos to you, bro. We're very proud of you, happy to know you, and just thank you for sharing all your wisdom with people here. It's good to see. It's just good to see, what we talk about, and then you actually see it in place and see it in action and see a big major reward like that. It's just really fulfilling. So very proud of you, bro. What we've been talking with today, we've been talking to Derek Miner of Reflection Music Group. We've been having an amazing discussion. Derek has been sharing his insights as an independent business owner, as a sync, as an indie label owner that is also very heavily invested in sync licensing. He's been talking about how the two of those overlap. He's also been talking about just as a creative, the entrepreneurial mindset that's required. If you're late or you've missed this, no worries. We record our rooms, and if you go to our website, which is controlcamp.com, ctrlcamp.com, it's in my profile, it's in Daraj's profile, you can see access to our Patreon. Patreon gets you access to all of the replays from the last 4 or 5 weeks of rooms, and we've had some amazing music supervisors in here. So we record our rooms, we take text notes so you can read the notes or listen to the audio replay. You can check that out there. And even outside of that, you can just go and get a lot of the resources that we've put together. We have a Sync 101 page. If you're not familiar with Sync, if you don't know how to approach music supervisors, if you don't know what type of topics you should write about in your song or what type of topics are more syncable, go to controlcamp.com, our Sync 101 page, and you can level up there. One thing I want to while we're shouting out people, I want to shout out Steph, who has normally she's here giving away the gems and congratulating other people, but we want to congratulate her because she, as well as Jason, who's also part of Music Box, they've got a major placement with Shalea, if I pronounce that right, Shalea, who is Quincy Jones's artist. They wrote the song for her single that's being released tomorrow. Some of us are going to a pre-release event late tonight, but the single comes out tomorrow. And just want to, I see Steph might be here.
Thank you, guys. I'm in and out because of the event, but that's so sweet of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, very, very proud of that. And it's
so proud of you, Steph.
Song.
Love you guys so much. And Daraj, I didn't get to say publicly how proud I am of you of the Super Bowl. Sorry. And everybody go get Daraj's EP, because not only did he get that sing for the Super Bowl, it's a whole EP of amazing songs. So get that EP. And if you don't mind getting Grace tomorrow, go give it a listen. Chalet is an amazing artist, and we do not support independent artists enough, especially females and females of color. So, anybody who wants to give a listen, please do.
Awesome. So with that said, I'll let Daraj, I'm sure you want to jump in and say something, and you can thank you. We appreciate everyone for being here. But Daraj, let you take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, Eric, and everybody who's on stage, and definitely want to, I can't say it enough, Derek. I mean, you know how much I love you, bro, but I appreciate you for being here and giving so much to our community that we've been having here. Like, you're just such a wealth of knowledge. We didn't even scrape the surface of, all that there is to know about you. But I mean, what you shared was already really rich, man. There's always an open door here for you, bro, and love what RMG is doing, love what you got going on and how you're empowering, the indie artist community, bro. So we thank you for being here and staying as long as you could too, bro. Like, I know how busy you are, so I don't take this for granted, man. I appreciate you, dude.
Much respect, and it's an honor and a privilege. And if I could say anything publicly, just want people to know, man, I'm so proud of you, bro. Like, you are an excellent young man who's been like you've been an inspiration to me. I want you to know that, and I want the people to know that like what you're doing here is very important, and I'm thankful that I even get a chance to come and speak. So Much love, bro. Keep killing it, man. Proud of you.
You about to make me cry over here, bro. Chill out. Yeah, Derek's a big bro, man. He's been a mentor in many ways that he knows and doesn't know. So love having him here. But yeah, I mean that kind of wraps it up. We're going to transition into the after party. You all kind of know the rundown. We do it right after our Wednesdays, but thank you for all the moderators that are up here and everybody who comes week to week and gives of their time and of their expertise, for the space to really enrich our community. We can't do this without each other. Like, we don't have all the answers. So we try to collect a community and see where we get, get as close to the answer as we can. And we love everybody's input and perspectives that they have. So yeah, like I said, we're transitioning to the after party. Continue to tap in with us at controlcamp.com. Also, if you want to get special updates, you can shoot a text to the number that's in my profile. You'll be notified when we have new rooms, new resources, and everything of the likes. But that's it, Eric. We got anything else, or is that
Nope.
we switching over?
Make sure you're following us so you see the after parties for members only. But we hope to see you over there. Otherwise, we'll be back.
Oh, Eric.
Yo.
Real quick, my bad before I cut you. Are we announcing any upcoming rooms? Should we announce anything? Because we got a lot of rooms up and coming.
We do, but
Are we gonna hold off?
Yeah, we'll hold off. We'll just stay tuned to us, and
okay.
we'll keep that coming up. We got a lot of amazing stuff happening. We'll just stay tuned. So we'll do the after party, and then Saturday we'll probably make more of the announcements during our listening session on Saturday. If you're new to us, we do listening sessions every Saturday. So go to controlcamp.com, and there's a submit button. You can submit one song. We do really constructive reviews, very positive atmosphere, not a non-critical space, and we help you identify how your music can be aligned with sync or how it fits within sync. So that's on our website. Otherwise, hey, whoever can hang, come over to the after party. Everyone else would thank you for hanging with us, and we're good to see everybody.
Peace.
Thanks,
out.
Eric, Raj, Derek,
Thank you.
Jessica, Jess.
Much love, y'all. Take it
Thank
easy.
you.
All right, everybody.
Hey, salute to everybody, man. Derek, appreciate you for following through and sharing gems, brother.
All love, homie.
God bless y'all. Thank you so much. This has been amazing, man. I love this. I'm a huge fan. I'm here every Wednesday.
Hey, you definitely here next Wednesday.
Yeah. Big shout out to you, Deraj. Thanks, Derek, Eric, Jaden, everybody. I see you. Much love.
Absolutely.
Bro, we got to get on something, bro. I'm trying to tap in.
Bro, send me the track. Let's go.
All right, bet. Say less. We're going to link.